this is a CBAFF hosted webinar. I'd just like to remind everybody of CBAFF's antitrust policy. At this meeting, members are reminded that there must be no discussion of prices, surcharges, fees, costs, particular customers, revenues, market shares, or any other commercially sensitive topics. In particular, I would like to remind you that no market agreements should be or will be decided at meetings of CBAFF, whether they involve prices, amounts, or areas. Additionally, such behaviour outside of meetings is also prohibited, as it could cause immense damage to CBAFF and or your company. The Commerce Commission has given strict guidelines on what it considers to be anti-competitive behaviour, and you should make yourselves familiar with these. But thank you. Today we'll be showcasing member benefits in a demonstration, and then deep diving into how WiseTech Academy can offer more than just CargoWise training. And so without further ado, please join me in welcoming Lance. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much. Emma, can everybody hear me? You good? All right, perfect. I know we've got a time clock going, and so I respect that, and I appreciate the opportunity, along with my colleagues, to have a little bit of time with you. As you can see, I do live in Boston, here in the U.S., and really the reason I'm here is to give you some perspective on some success that we've had with the WiseTech Academy, with some clients over here. The way we've gone about it has really worked for them. They've got over 300 and some people, one client, over 300 and some people from their organization already using the Academy and having great success with it. So we thought we might as well give you guys the same message, see if it resonates. You can let me know at the end, but we want to give you that overview for WiseTech Academy. So if we jump into what we're going to do in 30 minutes, now normally people that know me over here know that I can't introduce myself in 30 minutes. So this is a good challenge. We're going to get through the things that are likely running through your heads concerning WiseTech Academy. What is it? How can it help us? What are some of the traditional limitations to getting on board with a learning platform, and how do we overcome those? We're going to do what I call a movie trailer demo. In 30 minutes, I really can't show you the whole movie. I can't show you all the features that are in there to help you, but I can give you enough to want to buy the ticket to the movie. And in that, I mean, we would hope that some of you that are interested would want to do a one-on-one at some point, so that we can go into a deeper dive. But this should give you a nice little overview to know what it is and how it can help you. Then how can we learn more? I'll give you a way to reach out if you want to do a little bit of a deeper dive. And then at the end, we'll have some questions. So that's going to be our 30 minutes, ready, set, go. So I apologize for going fast, but I want to make sure we get you that overview. I think it's your morning right now, so it's late here. It's about 8:30 p.m., but hopefully you guys are having a cup of coffee or whatever it takes to get going. Sit back, enjoy that, and we'll keep moving. As we know, the industry has a lot of components to it, from air to sea to rail to the logistics to warehouse. Each one of those roles has its own skills and knowledge that's required to make it run efficiently. And then our industry is unique because all the pieces have to then work efficiently together as well. And that is such a big challenge. But it's not been something that's been a hurdle in the past, because we've had mentors available that were in the industry for a long time. They were able to pass their experience and knowledge down to the next group, and that happened over a long period of time. And then the next group came in kind of ready to go and knowing all the ins and outs. And as you know, with COVID, we kind of all got kicked in the gut quite a bit. And some of those people with experience said, I'm going to go just enjoy my life. So they left before maybe we thought they were going to. And some of the new people coming in have zero to little experience in our industry. So they're coming in being told what to do, push this button, push that button, enter that number, but they don't have that overall knowledge that allows an organization to feel like their eyes and ears are really on what's happening, to avoid mistakes or at least reduce them, to kind of see when there's problems that need to be addressed. They really don't have that. So what's happening is what you see on the screen now. People are doing the job, but they're not really contributing like the people before them because they're just not trained to do so. Not only does that leave your company vulnerable to the mistakes and the costs that go with those, but also the individuals get frustrated. They don't really understand what they're doing. They don't have that excitement. And so many times they kind of dwindle away, and then you kind of start the cycle all over again. We're knee deep in the middle of that. My guess is all of you have experienced that to some degree, or at least see it coming. And so that's the gap that we're worried about. One other thing that we have to put on top of that is the industry is changing fast with technology. And as we see in today's world, a lot of laws, regulations, all that sort of thing changes now faster than ever before. So if you don't have the basics, then all this new stuff that's really important gets lost because people are still trying to figure out what to do and how to do it. That other stuff just goes right by them. So again, it makes the companies more vulnerable. It causes people to get frustrated, mistakes to happen, costs to be incurred that shouldn't. And so it's a gap that's there. We acknowledge it, but what can we do about it? And that's where WiseTech Academy is coming in to help bridge that gap. Now, I want to be clear about something. This is not just a CargoWise software learning site. It's really not at all. It's a part of it. If you want to learn a little bit more about it, you can. But really, it's about industry learning. And it's really set up to give back to the industry. So CargoWise has been very fortunate. You guys have supported around the world, our industry, and we've tried to provide a great product for that. But the reality is, with this gap, we need to give back. And so this platform is really allowing for that through the training that you'll see here in a minute. The other thing is that this is got a lot of benefits because it's very self-paced. It's got cost effectiveness to it. There's a lot of things that will come from using this platform. But the key I want you to take away before we go any further is this is about WiseTech providing you with tools that are about you, about growing your workforce in a way to make them most successful, because when you win, we win. And we want you to realize this is a give back, and you'll see that in the upcoming slides, because that's really what it is. So let's look though at what are some of the hurdles of bringing on something like a WiseTech Academy, and then we'll go through the academy itself. There's three traditional limitations that when we talk to really our customers anywhere around the world that come up as barriers, if you want to put it that way. The first is time. People don't have time to do training. They don't have time to go to class trainings. Work is the priority. And when you can't fit in training, it tends to get cut. And thus the gap gets wider. The other item is around funding. Again, with that mentorship program that we've enjoyed in the past, we didn't really need to build up a lot of funding for training because it happened on the job. Now, we think we have to pay a lot of money to fill that gap. So that tends to cause organizations to say, we're not going to do that yet. We don't have time, we don't have the funding, so they kick it down the road even more. And again, that causes the gap to get even wider. So that's a real concern when people are considering these learning platforms. The next thing is value. If because of funding and time, only one person on the team gets to do the training, then it's really an incomplete picture. And also, if that person gets ill, they go on vacation, it really disrupts the workflow. The other piece is that getting one piece of a puzzle doesn't show you the whole picture. So the real value of having trained people is that they can see beyond just their role, things fit together, so they can identify opportunities, issues, whatever the cases are, to make sure your costs stay down. There's no penalties or fines or anything like that. And also to make sure opportunities to make things more efficient is there because they understand it. Because we're lacking that right now. So how does WiseTech Academy address each one of these? This is just a snapshot. but I want you to understand that, again, this is truly built for your success and your people's success. The first thing is to maximize time. Time isn't a negative. It's an e-learning platform, which means people can take it at home, they can take it at work, it'll work on all the systems, and it's self-paced. So when they have time, they can do their learning and training, and when work needs to be done, they can put it away and do the work. They're not off in a classroom for 3 to 5 days or whatever the case is, or sitting in another room, on their computer. This, when they get out, it remembers where they were, and then they can get back in when the time's right. So there's limited disruption not only to them, but also to your workflow. And then we're offering a domain, which we'll talk about in a second, which is you would control the entire system for your people. So you can run reports to make sure people are moving along in their training, but also not going too fast, because you want to make sure there's a balance of work and learning. So you'll have all those control pieces put in so that you can manage your people the way you want to manage them. And then the timely new learning is a big one, because we talked about how the industry is changing fast. You don't have to wait for someone to build a course, reserve a place to do the training, set up all the travel or the arrangements for them to go to the class. All the new training comes down through the system electronically, so they get it as quickly as possible where they need it. So time really is a factor that turns into a positive with the Academy. The other thing is around the funding. WiseTech knows somebody's got to kind of step up and help, because we're in a place where, again, we didn't have funds just saved for this sort of thing. So the domain itself, which gives you all the tools, is absolutely free. We just give it to you. That's part of my job and my colleagues. We set that all up for you, get it running the way it's supposed to run, and then you run it with your people. The costs that go inside the platform are extremely cost effective. Again, this is meant to give back to the industry, so it's not a moneymaker. They're $2, $8, it's different depending on the amount of content, but super cost effective, so people can get onboarded or upskilled. Now, the next item is subscription. So I mentioned courses cost, a few bucks here and there, but we have a subscription program that's even better. And that is for a $100, which is how it's billed. All the people in your domain, whether it's 50, 100, 1,000, doesn't matter. It's $100 a month, and everybody gets access to most of the programs within the Academy. And I say most because these would be the courses for upskilling, onboarding, and hot topics that are out there. There's other courses in there too that are for certifications that are generally in some type of partnership with someone else. We'll talk about those in a second. Those aren't part of the subscription, but as you see at the bottom, we offer discounts on those. They're extremely cost effective versus the alternatives. One, because it's online, you don't have to leave work or have the hotel and food and all that sort of thing. But also, it's self-paced, so they don't lose their workflow. Those discounts come in different forms. For example, CBAFF has a discount. So being a member, you get 12.5% discount off any of the subscription in any course or certification. And then if you are a CargoWise user, you don't have to be, but if you are, you get another discount on top of that, which is another 12.5%. So we're trying to take cost out of being a barrier to learning. And hopefully that kind of gives you some idea of, well, for $100, I can train everybody on most everything they're going to be doing. And for those certifications, it's going to be quite cost effective, which you'll see, but there's even discounts on top of it. So I got thinking about this. I thought, how do we put that in perspective? Needing to learn and get learning, but knowing that this is a very unique opportunity. So I started thinking, I go to this slide. I'm back to the guy drinking the coffee. That may be you guys right now, getting towards the end of the cup. But I wanted to just do a little demonstration here. The subscription baseline is $100 US for all users in your domain, not per person, not per group. It's Everyone. That covers everybody per month. Now, if you have 100 employees, which I've been told, is about the average if you took everybody together in New Zealand, the companies. It could be a little more, a little less. We'll use 100 for this example. In 20 work days in a month, that's $5 for all your people for each workday total for $5. But if you have 100 people, that's 5 cents. So the coffee you're drinking, that'd be about one good sip. So for one good sip of coffee, you can get training, upskilling, onboarding available to your people as they need it, and they can take as much as they want. So just kind of put that in perspective. It's one sip of coffee to cover everybody. We're trying to take cost out of the equation of being a barrier to offering this to your people. So if we go back to our 3 challenges, we have value. I wanted to note that there's some value points here. And one are we offer what's called programs within the system. And think of Legos, the little toys. You stack the Legos into whatever program you want, and each little Lego is a course. And you can help put that together. We offer some that are already put together, but that offers consistency in your training. Because people are having to learn fast and not from someone that's been there for 50 years, let's say, you want to make sure that if they come on board now or 4 months from now, they get the same learning. So it's calibrated. That is offered with the system. Also, the increased inclusions. And what I mean by that is I've talked to a lot of people, and what they say is, yeah, we trained 2 people because we had to, but nobody else. And again, there's risk because then if they're gone, if they're sick or whatever the case is, that really holds up the movement of the cargo. So we can add more people because we brought the cost way down. And that's something we're hoping for. And then they can start to share and learn together, which they normally wouldn't be able to do. And don't downplay at all the career development aspect. With young people coming in, they want to see a career path, and part of that is learning about the industry. So first they'd want to learn about what their job is, but then they can learn about, I want to do this job next. So part of the program could be, we've got the training for you as part of that subscription, and you'll be able to get up to speed on it. And then when the time's right, you can make the jump. So it's really about keeping them engaged. And the last piece here is it's an ongoing resource. I didn't expect this one, but I'm hearing it a lot from the people I'm working with, is when they go to a classroom and it's over, it's over. You hope it's all in their head. Or if they use multiple platforms, they have to remember, where did I take that? What were the passcodes? How do I get back to it? We don't have that. With the Academy, the hope is that you'll have a place to put all your training so that when they're done with it, they can easily go back to it. And that keeps them refreshed. And that's what we want. And that's available with the Academy. So all 3 things that are typically negatives, we can easily turn into positives. So if we have that positive, what does the system look like? So we're going to jump in. Now, I want to remind you, the goal here is just to give you a little bit of a taste so we stay within our time, but it should give you a little bit of insight as to what this offers. So let me run this here. So I put these up here to be like the questions that you're asking if you were sitting here with me going through the system. So the first one is, how did they get to this domain you're talking about? Remember, it would be your dedicated e-learning domain just for your people that you can run reports on and control. So to do that, they would log into WiseTech Academy on their browser and basically just click login. Then on the left side, they would put in the unique credentials for your domain. So these would be specific to your company, and each person would have their own. Then they log in, and at that point, they're going to your domain. And when they log in, it'll look like this. And this is essentially where they start to do their learning. So let's look at the basic layout. The layout is their name would be in the upper right because we know who they are. And then they can click around to look at the different courses that are available. In this case, there's a tab for it. Or some of the certifications or diplomas that they want to shoot for, that's in there. Or they can just type in a topic. And there's a search engine that will bring up the results. In this case, there's quite a few. If they click on the courses button there at the top, it shows the courses that are available. And if you notice, The subscription is not on in this example, so it shows the prices that they would pay. Some are free, some are $8, some are a little more, like $40. It's all billed in US dollars, by the way. But don't forget, we have a subscription, and this is why this came about. Companies wanted to control their budgets a little better and didn't want to limit the learning. So when these results come up, when the subscription is turned on, then this little box here, instead of being white, would be green. And that means it's part of the subscription program. And the cost over here would say free. So that means they can do whatever they want. It's not going to cost you more, and they're free to do, their training. So that would be turned on. You would see the little subscription there. Costs would go away. And then the admin is the one who can turn it on and off. And that's done up there in the corner. Up there in the corner. Sorry, my clicker got wrong. So that would be where they would see that they can do that. And only the admins can do that. So the question is, okay, so let's say an admin enrolls them into some courses as part of a program, onboarding or whatever. How do they see that? So I'm a user now. I'm logged in, and I'm going to click on My Learning. And My Learning is where all the courses show up so that they can see what's in there. And this is for the individual. Now, in this case, it's just courses are in there. So, but you can click on programs. Remember we talked about the Legos. You can see those separately or just the courses. And then down at the bottom, you can either show everything that's in there for a course or program, or you can say, just show me the ones I don't have completed yet, or let me go back and look at the ones that I've completed. So a lot of control by the user in order to navigate around the system. And that's part of the beauty of it, is that it's easy to use. So people will use it. So these are the examples if you click the buttons. And then let's say I go back, I've completed a lot of things, and I'm going back to look at programs that I've completed. Oh, sorry about that. In this case, you would see the industry course that it's completed. And then if there's a certificate, I can click on it in order to look at it. But more importantly, I can revisit that course. And if you look at this, I want you to notice that these are built a little bit differently. Sorry about that. A little bit differently than the ones that are for CargoWise. CargoWise gets very technical. These are not. These are for, again, someone new, somebody upskilling, whatever the case is. And so it's very comfortable to read through and very adult learning. There's a lot of interactivity. There's different things that can kind of interact with the data, and a lot of adults like to do that. And then at the end, as usual, there's an assessment. There's a practice one, and then there's a final one. And of course, you can run all the reports that you need to on that, because you own the domain, and only your people are in there. So you can kind of see how they're doing. So we've talked about admin tools. That's a big part of having a domain. Let's look at how they get in. These will be just your admins. So they've logged in like a user, but they get an extra button underneath their name. So when they click on that, they go to Admin Pro. Before they go in, it just re-puts their credentials and makes them click that they're not a robot. I don't know if you have robots taking training, but that's where that would be. And they get to where this is. This is Admin Pro, and only admins get here. It'll give you a little overview of how people are enrolled and how they're progressing. But the most common tools used are the subscription off to the side to turn it on and off, and that would be for everyone, and to manage your users. So you can bulk upload, you can upload a single person, or you can manage them once they're in. And when you manage them once they're in, that's where you enroll them. So let's say we'll take Amelia, click on the enrollment icon, and it defaults to course enrollment, so you can see how she's doing with her courses, with her certificates. But you can add more by clicking on the Add Enrollment button, and that would just look at courses. Or you can go up to the programs and do the same thing. Add enrollment, these are just the programs, and then you can click on any of them to enroll them into the program. Super easy. And the other thing you're going to want to do as an admin is run reports. And so here you have multiple options of the reports you can look into. one that you tend to use early is commencement, because when you have a domain, you do not get charged until someone actually commences a course, if it's a chargeable course. So a lot of times people run this one, put in the criteria, click on download, and you would get the full report of commencements. Now remember, that's not subscription. That's if, let's say, you do a certification that requires it's separate, then you would see who started it and when did I expect to see that hit the invoice. Those are invoiced monthly to the company. There's no credit card, there's nothing like that, and all the discounts that are applied to the invoice. So super, super easy. So that's a very high level of how the system itself works. But what really drives this is the content inside. So we do have a catalog. The catalog has over 100 courses that are included in the subscription. Again, onboarding, upskilling, some hot topics. And then there's also certifications and compliance courses, which are outside of the subscription, very clearly denoted. They receive the discounts, though, if you enroll people into those. And there's about 20 of those. And this is growing all the time. You know, we're constantly hearing from people and things that are needed, and those go into the system. Now, one item I want to make sure that you're aware of, and this is one that's not included in the subscription, is the certification. It's a certification program, and it's the WiseTech Academy Dangerous Goods by Air program. You might have seen it before. It's IATA-accredited. It's the first one that they had, and it's available. But what's new is it's now been approved. It's approved by the Civil Aviation Authority of New Zealand, and so now it's ready to go. This is one, you know, if you do this kind of shipment, organizations have to have, you know, a few people go through it. So it's a good place to start to see how convenient this can be. If you notice the little circle at the top, it's $290 US. But remember, because you're CBAFF, you get 12.5% off. If you happen to be a CargoWise user, you get another 12.5% off. And at that point, you're looking at about just over $220. So again, we're trying to take cost away. From what we've heard, the alternatives for classroom can be in the thousands, not only for the enrollment, but for the hotel, for the food, and then there's the away from work time that's not even calculated. So we know, though, some people prefer the classroom for certain things. We're not saying disregard it, but this gives you an opportunity to say, maybe we'll send 2 people to the classroom, but we'll have 4 or 5 go through the online to build up our base of people available, and then to compare if the effectiveness is there and the value to maybe just do it online, you know, more and more in the future. That would be up to you, but that's what we're thinking, because we're having a lot of good luck with this program. And it's something worthy of starting if that's where you want to start to try. We also have a similar program for C, so you could do the same thing there. But these are the courses that are outside of the subscription. Still very, very cost effective and effective. Now, we're in the last 2 slides. I want to put this one up because everybody I talk to later tells me this. I guess when you were talking and going over this, it was great, but in my head, I'm thinking there has to be some sort of catch. Why would you guys be doing this? And I hope I've explained that. We need you to be successful so we can be successful. This gap is apparent, and we're trying to give back so that you guys can help bridge this gap. It makes us all win. It's a very real concern, but I want to assure you, it's not a dream. There really is no catch. And matter of fact, there's no lock-ins. So you don't sign contracts. You don't have to do it for whatever month. It's month to month. So if for some reason you decide you don't want to do it anymore, that's fine. There's no penalty or anything like that. This is truly yours to advance your people and your business. So as a reminder, fully functional e-learning domain for your organization. I don't think you can find that anywhere else that's free and fully functional. There's 100+ industry courses available in the subscription. And remember, to do your people, if you have 100 people, it'd be a sip of coffee a day. So really, cost isn't an issue. If you happen to have 50 people, it's 10 cents. I mean, it becomes, still pennies. And never forget the discounts are available. And the discounts are even available off the subscription price. So the $100 is much less just because you're in CBAFF. And if you're CargoWise, it's even less than that. But $100 is still an amazing value. So, and if it's a certification, the discount comes right off the certification cost, which is already low. We're trying to do the full circle for you. The biggest issue, I think, is how do you get started? I hope I've communicated that there's a lot to learn here. It's hard to do in 30 minutes. So I'm hoping that you'll say, let's do a one-on-one demo. Each one of you, if you call or get in touch with me, I'll do it with each one of you if you want. So we can go deeper to specifically the things that you're going to need. You could even do a course review if you say, hey, I'd like to see that Dangerous Goods course. Can I review it? We'll set you up to do a review. Or maybe you just want to do a pilot period. Hey, can we set this up? We'll get 5 people to kind of play around with it, and we'll see if we want to continue or not. That's okay too. There's no pressure on this. But we do want you to act because we know it's a big need right now. So I'm going to put my email on there. That's my work email. We normally have a generic site that you would go to and you'd work through the process. But because you've listened to me and because you guys have taken the time to listen and attend, if you write me and say, hey, I'm interested in learning a little bit more, I'll make sure you're taken care of. It'll be me or it'll be one of my colleagues, but we'll give you special treatment so that you get that deeper dive that you might be looking for. So that's a lot. I hope we made it within our 30 minutes. If not, I know we're really close. Want to open it up for questions, and I do have colleagues on the line, also including Matt Abercrombie. So if we can open it up to some questions, and I'll leave my email up there because hopefully you guys are writing it down and say, hey, I'll send you an email and tell you what we're looking for. I'd love to hear from you. But let's open it up to questions if you guys can do that for us.